Okay, good afternoon, ladies. Okay, my name is Milton LeBlanc. I'm a Senior Procurement Specialist for the Department of Procurement Services upstairs. I'd like to welcome you on behalf of our Commissioner, Mr. Jamie Ree, and of course our Mayor, to this workshop on RFP preparation. So you should save your questions till the end. I might cover what you have questions about on the presentation. And if I don't, you tell me at the end. And hopefully get this through this as soon as possible, as efficient as possible. Are you anyone, you guys, MB, EW, BE? Okay, great. We encourage you to come to our pre-proposal conferences when we have pre-proposal conferences, because that's the way of networking with other MBWEs and other vendors that might need subcontracts and might need MBWBE goals. So it's very important that you attend those pre-proposal conferences when we advertise and having something in your field of expertise. We're always looking for partner MBWEs with main contractors for different contracts, okay? All right, without further ado, okay. Anyone here familiar with the RFP process? Have done any RFP proposals before? No? You've done proposal for the city? Okay, all right. Basically, the city of Chicago, right, has two main methods on acquiring services, goods and services and professional services. You have a bid or an RFP. The difference is that a bid usually specifies specifically what the city wants. Say the city wants to acquire some chairs, right? They will put out a bid. The bid will say the color of the chairs. We want black chairs. We want metal or wood chairs. We want chairs with handles. We want chairs with screws. So the bid will tell you all specifics of what the city wants, okay? And then we'll be looking for the best price because we know what we want. We know how many chairs we want, the color, the size, all that stuff, right? So the bid will tell you all those specifics, and then we'll put out the bid, and then you, the vendor, will respond, and then we'll choose the vendor who responds with the lowest price because we know exactly what we want. If you can provide us what we want at the lowest possible price, we will select you, okay, as the winning bidder. RFPs are a little different. RFP, we look for price, of course. We also look for quality. Okay, how good is your proposal compared to other proposals? So when we city puts out an RFP, we know what we want generally, okay, but we leave it to the proposer sometimes to suggest. Maybe you know a better way of providing accounting services or a better way of providing legal services. So when we put out an RFP, we're going to look at your price, we're going to look at the quality of what you're offering us, okay? That's the main difference, okay? The bid, we know exactly what we want. We want the best price available, okay? And the RFP, we will want the best quality and price, okay? Main difference between the two. Okay, in the City of Chicago, any bid that's valued over $100,000, okay? And all RFPs are published in the Chicago Sun-Times. So if you have the Sun-Times, government advertising paper, government advertising section, you'll see any bids that we have out that's valued over $100,000. And all RFPs, regardless of what the value is, are going to be published on the Chicago Sun-Times, okay? That's one way to find it. The bids and RFPs are also posted on the Department of Procurement Services website, which is www.cityofchicago.org/bids. And RFPs will be www.cityofchicago.org/procurement, okay? You can always find open bids and open RFPs on the City of Chicago website, okay? It's always available there. And the other issue I mentioned to you before, always make sure to attend the pre-proposal, pre-bid conferences. They're usually not mandatory, but we always like vendor community to network with each other so you can know each other and you can provide, be able to provide us the best service or the best product that we might need in the bid. Okay. With an RFP, I'm going to be going, anyone have a copy of the sample RFP? Okay, we go into the step-by-step, page-by-page on the RFP. Okay, an RFP stands for Request for Proposals. Okay, and the specific one that you have at your hand, this is an RFP or is being awarded. Okay, this contract has been awarded, so you can see exactly what it is that we required. These specific ones, okay, on the cover page, it will tell you what the RFP is for. This specific RFP was for workers' compensations, claim administration, and consulting services. So the city was looking for a vendor who can provide workers' compensation claims to administer workers' compensation claims and consult services in relation to workers' compensation. This is what the RFP is for. And this is always at the top. Your RFP will always tell you here what it is for, okay? Further down the RFP, it will tell you the name of the senior procurement officer who's responsible for this RFP. That becomes important because the senior officer who's, this is me, okay, whose name and telephone appears here is the only person you will speak to in the department regarding this RFP, okay? So this RFP is published, the senior procurement officer's name is here and number. That's the only person you will speak to in regard to the RFP. Any question, any issues that you have, you'll contact this person. You don't call the commissioner's office, you don't call anyone else. This is the person you speak to, okay? That's an important distinction to have, all right? And the other important thing in this RFP, the due date will appear at the end, at the bottom here, okay? The due dates appear at the end of the RFP at the bottom, okay? So you also make sure you look at the due date, okay? And you know who to contact with any questions. It is preferable, the best way to contact a senior procurement officer is to send them an email. First of all, I'll be out of the office, I'll be at a meeting, so I'll send an email. User response in a few hours, okay? So you email the senior procurement person that you would like to speak to in regard if you were applying to this RFP, okay? So let's try the component. What does the RFP entails? You have the cover page, you have a table of contents, okay? Cover table of contents. So it tells you exactly what you will need to provide, okay, what the RFP is about. So this RFP, like I say, is for workmen's compensation, okay? So on the first page of the RFP, page 1, it will describe for you. You want page 1? Page 1, it's like the third, right? It will describe for you what is the RFP is looking for, okay, in specific language. So you take the RFP, you go to page 1, it will tell you the purpose of the request for proposal. What is it that the city is specifically looking for in this instance? Okay? Okay so far? It will tell you where to find the RFP. It's an internet access. Okay? I already gave you that particular site. And in this case, it will be org-RFP. Okay? This is org.bids, it will be org.RFP. Okay? You'll find that on the internet once it's published. Okay? It will tell you the background of the RFP. It will define the terms that are described in this document, okay? The terms that are described on the document are on page 2. It will tell you that, okay? Then we'll describe for you on the next page, page 3, the scope of services. In other words, what is it that we're looking for and how we want it, the scope of what we want, okay? And the scope of services will also be attached to the RFP as an exhibit. So exhibit 1 will be a detailed specification of what it is that the RFP is requesting. All right, so let's take a look at exhibit 1 here. We do have exhibit 1, right? Exhibit 1 will be on page, I marked it. Exhibit 5, exhibit 4. We're getting there. Exhibit 1, okay. Exhibit 1 is on page 22. Okay. I want you to look at it because you can see how detailed the scope of services is. Okay. Yes, we're looking for workers' compensations, claim administration, but we want these details. So in page 22, 23, 24, in this case 25, all it does is delineate the details of the scope of services. So when the RFP says we're looking for workers' compensation claim administration, it tells you exactly what we're looking for. Okay, so you don't have to guess what we're looking for. This is what we're looking for. Okay, the detail of every single aspect of what we're looking for when we say, okay, this is an RFP for workers' compensation claims, but this is specifically what are we looking for. Okay, so you always go look at the scope of services so you can see the details of what it is that we're buying. You see this particular buying, okay, and that would be you structure your proposal in response to what's asked for here in the scope of services. Okay, you okay so far? Okay, fair enough. What else? What else we have? On page 3, it will tell you the term of the contract. This particular RFP was for a 5-year term and 2 years additional extension. So the vendor's proposal, who was awarded this RFP, will have a contract for 5 years with the city, okay, provided they provide the services, okay? So 5 years contract, and at the end of 5 years, they might be extended additional 2 years maximum. So this contract, the awarded vendor might have this contract for a total of 7 years. Isn't that great? For a contract, okay? So yeah, so that's what's important. The proposal was responsive to this RFP. They were the best qualified vendor, okay? The best response to this RFP, and they were awarded a contract for 5 years with an option to have 2 additional years. Okay, what else happens here? Okay, on general information, page 3, okay, and I spoke to you about this, right? Communication between the City of Chicago and respondents. The first paragraph will tell you the name, again, of the senior procurement specialist responsible for this RFP. This is the person that you contact. You call them, you email them preferably. Any question about this RFP, okay? So it tells you that all the information that you'd like to have, clarification, question, come directly to the person responsible for this RFP. Bottom of the page talks about the pre-proposal conference. We mentioned this a little bit before. Why is that important? Pre-proposal conference is where you, one, get to meet your competitors and get to meet your collaborators. Not only that, you get to ask any or questions you like. Okay, so it is very important to attend the pre-proposal conference. It is usually not mandatory, but I highly suggest that you attend pre-proposal conference if you're interested in responding to the RFP. Even if you might not be the main vendor, okay, you might be a subcontractor. You might be able to meet someone, be a subcontractor to a specific RFP. So it's a great thing to attend to those pre-proposal conferences. All right, what else we got? I'm not going too fast for you guys, am I? We okay? All right. All right, let's go to page 4. It speaks about the deadline and procedure for submitting proposals. Proposal has to be on time. I think that should be self-explanatory, but I want to remember that. Proposal has to be on time. If you submit it responding to an RFP, it has to be here by the due date before 4 o'clock. Actually, right in this room, okay, you submit your proposal before 4 o'clock. So that's the minimum debate. You have to be on time. I tell you specifically how it has to be submitted. Let's go to the next page, which is page 5. The cover page of the proposal, right? The package, it should say, it should be exactly as this laid out on page 5. It should say request for proposal, RFP, whichever RFP you're applying for, right? It should have a specification number, which will also be on the cover page of the RFP. This specific RFP specification number was 128679. See it here? Okay, when you submit your proposal, you have to say the name, the spec number of the RFP. And of course, the due date, you'll have that. It will be submitted by your agency or your firm, and you say how many copies you have. So you might have five copies. It will be package 1 of 5, package 1 of 6, or maybe you have. I think now we just have you usually submit 1 USB, and then, I'm sorry, 1 hard copy and several USB or CD copies, okay? But you tell us on your cover page what you submitted to us, how many of them, okay? That would be in the cover page right here. Okay, the other important aspect here would be the timetable of the RFP on page 5, which says key activity. The first thing was the city issues RFP will be the date that the RFP is published, okay? The city issues RFP means the date RFP is published, okay? It's usually the same date as the RFP appears in the Sun Times, all right? And it will also be posted on a website. That's the city issues RFP. The important date, the non-mandatory pre-proposal conference. That is the date where you get to come in, get to network with your competitors and collaborators, and get to ask those questions about the RFP, okay? Pre-proposal conference, important date. Then after the pre-proposal conference, we have a period of time where you can send us questions. You can send your emails questions, okay? And the questions will have a due date. We will not accept questions after that due date, okay? So it's a pre-proposal question due, that's the time frame that you have from the time the RFP is published, the time you can send us questions. And who we want to send the questions to? The senior procurement person, okay? So the time frame for sending questions, all right? And what happened after that, the city procurement officer will publish answer to those questions, okay? And that's the next day here. So it's an addendum to answer questions available. That's the date we will answer all your questions. We will not answer your questions individually because we want everyone to have the same information. So what we do, we will publish the answer to your question in an addendum, okay, and will be posted on a website, okay? That's the addendum due question date, okay? And after that, the proposal due date, okay? So these are the important dates for any given RFP, all right? City issues RFP. City conducts a pre-proposal conference where we invite you all to attend if you're interested. Then we have a date where you can submit questions via email, right? Then still then publish the answer to those questions, okay? And then the proposal will be due, okay? So that's the key dates on a given RFP. Okay, on the bottom of page 5, it talks about the trade secrets. What we want you to do, okay, on page 6C, it describes that you have to provide us with a CD-ROM of a redacted copy of the entire proposal. The reason we ask you for a redacted copy, a redacted copy means that you extract from your proposals all the personal information, okay, or confidential information, or trade secrets. In other words, your proposal might ask you for proposed staffing, or you put a staff person's name there. People sometimes forget, they put a staff person, social security number, or address, personal address. Those are information that should not be available in your proposal. So your redacted proposal would have a copy of proposal you submit to us without personal proprietary information. Okay, same thing about financial information that you don't want to make public about your organization. That should not be included in your proposal. That should not be included in your redacted proposal. Okay, so we want one redacted copy of your proposal that excludes personal proprietary information that you don't want anyone else to know. Okay, social security number, bank account number, people personal addresses, those kind of stuff. Okay, they don't need to be your proposal. Well, that's what it's about. Okay, the next step in page 6 is the preparation of proposal and required information. We want your proposal to come in a specific format. We don't want everyone to send us anything they feel like, whatever, you know. We want a specific format and specific information that has to be included in your proposal. So 6.1 tells about the format of the proposals. They have to come in on an 8.5 by 11 page. This is it. This is the size, okay? It's a regular size page, okay? We don't want it legal size. We don't want it odd sizes. Page. Did I say white? You know, white paper. Okay? Not blue, red, pink, yellow. White paper, standard page, all right? So that's the format that has to be your proposal, okay? This particular RFP was requiring one hard copy, okay? In other one paper copy, okay? And we wanted 9 electronic copies, okay, either USB or CD-ROMs. For this one, okay, we want 1 hard copy and 9 electronic copies. Different RFPs will tell you how many electronic copies they want. But it usually asks you for at least submit 1 hard copy, 1 original copy. And then the other copies can be USB, CD-ROMs, okay? That's one. Format. 6.2 on page 7, talk about the content of the proposal. What has to be there, okay? Those things are required in the proposal, all right? A cover letter. We want a cover letter. The proposal will tell us, it tells you exactly what we want in a cover letter, okay? You can add additional information, but your cover letter has to include these particular items. They have to be there, okay? Number of years you've been in business, legal name of your business, okay? Name and telephone number of the principal of the business, okay? And also ask you your commitment to the MBE, WBE requirements. Most proposals have a certain requirement, a percentage of the services that you have to provide, or professional services, that have to be MBE, WBE. In other words, if the proposal is published, such as this proposal, okay, it might require 25% MBE and 5% WBE. So on your cover letter, you have to respond, if you're the main respondent, that you'll be able to provide 25% MBE, 5% WBE. In other words, you have to agree that you comply with specific requirement for the proposal for MBE, WBE. Okay, so that has to be in a cover letter. Look at number 6 at the bottom of the page. I've found many proposals forget to do that. Many cover letters forget to do that. You have to tell us that you have seen the addendum, which is usually the answer to the question that has been published, okay, before you submit your proposal. Your cover letter has to tell us, yes, we saw the addendum, okay? It's an important item on your cover letter, all right? Page 8, executive summary. Tell us about your executive capacity, okay? Who's in your organization? So that's an executive summary. Usually a narrative telling us, okay, this is the person that you submit a proposal, and that's what they want you to do about it. C, again, that's an extension of B, professional qualifications. If your proposal is, say the RFP is to provide, say, accounting services, then professional qualifications that you're going to submit to us are going to tell us, yeah, we have accountants. If the RFP says the City of Chicago wants to purchase accounting services for whatever reason, want to do audit. Your proposal to us has to tell us that you have accountants. You understand that part? Okay, so if we want accounting services, you can't send us a proposal that says, okay, we have janitorial services. That doesn't help you, okay? So whatever we're asking for an RFP, that's what you respond to, okay? So that's what the personal qualification tells us. Then it also tells about company profile. That's an exhibit, it's a form. It tells you exactly what information we want there, okay? And on page 9, tell about company references. We usually ask for a minimum of 3 references, okay, that you've done this work before, that there are other organizations that can vouch for you, and we verify those references. Provide the references, we ask for the phone number, send the email, and we'll verify. We call those people up and say, okay, is this true? Okay, so we verify references, all right? So that's important. On page 10, okay, your particular field of expertise might require a license to do business in Illinois. You will have to provide us a copy of that, okay? That's important. On page 10, again, we ask you for professional qualification and experience of your key personnel. Not just your general staff, but the key personnel that's going to be working on this particular proposal that you're submitting to us. So we want to see their qualifications, okay? So you can give us that also. What else we got? Your staffing plan. No, I'm missing one page, okay. Okay, on page 11, talks about the management and implementation plan, okay? That's where you detail to us how are you going to provide the services that you're proposing us, the how to, Okay, that's what the management implementation plan says. How are we going to provide those, again, accounting services that the city is asking for, if that's what we're asking for? Your staffing plan follows that on page 12. And on page 12, F, talk about the compensation schedule. What happens on RFP, we want to be able to compare prices for different proposals. Okay, so we usually give you a format in which you have to submit your costs, okay, your compensation schedule. Okay, so it's very important that you follow that format because that's what you use to compare your prices to someone else providing similar services. Okay, so the compensation schedule is important, usually come in a specific format that you have to follow, okay, in order for us to be able to compare your costs against someone else's costs. Page 13 talks about the minority and women business enterprise commitment. We spoke about that. The RFP that we publish will tell you the percentages that we're looking for MBWBE. Okay, that has to be, that will be the RFP, and then you have, when you propose, you have to respond to that. You have to say, yes, City of Chicago, I'm going to provide you with the amount of percentage of MBWBE that you requested. Okay, that's an important part of the proposal. Financial statements. We usually want to see in an RFP, in a proposal to an RFP, financial statement for the last 3 years of your organizations. Okay, when people have audited records, financial records for 3 years. Okay, but we want to see some form of financial records for about 3 years. We want to see your financial responsibility for about 3 years. Okay, for about 3 years prior to your proposal. On page 14, they're asking for the EDS, which is the Economic Disclosure Statement and Affidavit. What is that? The Economic Disclosure Statement tells us usually the ownership composition of your organization. Who owns your company? Okay, are you a subsidiary of someone else? Okay, we want to see the ownership, okay, the ownership structure of your organization. It's a form that's online, and then you complete it online, and you submit to us a certificate that says that you've completed that. Okay, it's an online form, and there's it's very detailed instruction on how to complete that. But it's a document that where we ask to know the ownership structure of your organization. Okay, the EDS. What else we have? We also want to know on page 14 if there have been any legal actions against your organization, okay, during the 5 years prior to you submitting the proposal. So we just want to know if you've been involved in litigation, okay, that may affect the proposal. All right. And finally, on page 15, we want to know that you are insured. Again, the RFP document will tell you the level of coverage that you need to have in order to apply for the particular service that the RFP is asking for. Okay? So it will tell you exactly what is the level of coverage that you need to have to be able to participate in this particular RFP. Okay, so you got all this paperwork. It's not a lot, okay? Put it all in the USB, okay? Then you print out one main copy, which is that we ask for one hard copy, and then you submit to us maybe 8 or 9, 7, whatever the RFP stands for, USBs, okay? Why do we need that many, okay? RFPs are evaluated by an evaluation committee, okay? I don't know, 5, 10, 15 RFPs. We form a committee that's going to read these RFPs. They're going to score you on the categories we went over. They're going to evaluate them. That's the reason we need to have those copies, okay? Your RFP has to be evaluated and scored. Okay, so on page 15, I explain to you how the evaluation process works, okay, how we evaluate the proposal. First thing that happens, 7.1 on where it says phase 1, first thing that happens when your proposal comes in, we go to a checklist. See all this thing I went over? This checklist is to tell us that you submitted this thing. Yes, they have insurance. Yes, they have a MBWB plan, okay? Yes, they submitted a financial statement. Yeah, they have compensation schedule. So first stage of evaluation process is the assessment, okay, that your proposal has every single item that we asked for. Okay, so that's what's important. That's why I went over them. We have to submit all of them. Okay? Once you pass that stage 1, your proposal goes to stage 2, which actually is distributed to the evaluators that's going to actually read your proposal. Okay? Phase 1, you have everything that we asked for, so you're in. Once you're in, then you go to evaluation committee, who's going to be reading and scoring your proposal. Okay? After phase 2, evaluation committee might want you to come in to do an oral presentation. Yeah, they want to hear from you personally. Maybe they have some questions that the proposal does not answer. They will have you come in. You'll be invited in, okay? Or you'll be asked questions. They'll usually tell you in advance what they want to find out. Maybe your compensation schedule isn't clear enough. Maybe your staffing doesn't have enough experience. And then they want to hear from you. So they'll have you come in for phase 3. And after phase 3, you again will be scored on the highest scoring proposal would be invited, okay, to come in, okay, to come in for an award. That's not the end of the process. There has to be negotiations. If there are differences between what you propose and what the city wants, even though you might be the highest scoring, okay, you have come in and the city will negotiate with you, okay, to get what we want, all right? Evaluation criteria on page 16, okay? Again, it lists what we'll be evaluating. We'll be looking at your professional and technical competence. That's 7.2A, okay? And we'll be looking at everything from A to I. We'll be looking at quality of your proposed implementation. We'll be looking at your compensation schedule. We'll be looking at, on page 17D, that comes that stuff again, the MBEWBE. We'll be looking at that. We'll be looking at legal action. We'll be looking at F, which is financial stability. That's what we want your financial reports to see whether or not you're financially stable. And G, basically, we'll ask you that you agree to comply with all the laws, meaning all the laws that are applicable to your proposal or to the services. Obviously, federal laws, state law, city law, and ordinances. You have to be able to comply with all those laws. Okay, that's what G is about. Okay, on H, we'll have we'll give you we'll publish a sample of the contract that you will sign if you're awarded a contract. Okay, when the RFP is published on the website, there's a sample also of the contract that will go with the RFP. So if you're awarded a contract under the RFP, then the actual agreement, okay, the contract will be there. So that's why what you're going to have to sign. So we want you to look at it before anything else, so you know what you're going to be into, what you're going to be signing into if you order a contract. Okay, so make sure you look at the RFP that's published. Make sure you look at the sample of the contract. The PSA, the Professional Service Agreement, will also be posted with the RFP. Make sure you look at it so you know what it entails. It's a legal document. Okay. And I would be that there's no conflict of interest. You don't know your cousin that works for the department and you know, tell you some insight about the RFP. You know, no conflict of interest, okay? The selection process, we went over that, okay? Which is the steps of the step that's going to evaluate the proposals. And the selection process is that after phase 3, remember we have phase 1, the checklist. Phase 2, your proposal is read and evaluated. Phase 3, you come in for an oral presentation. Okay, and at this point, there might be 2 or 3 of you, okay, that are still pretty close in scores. Okay, okay. So the city reserves the right to negotiate with one, the top scorer, with the top 2 or 3 scorers. We can negotiate with more than one vendor concurrently. Okay. At the end of the negotiation process, then you know that what a contract at this point. Then the committee that evaluates your proposal recommends, okay, to the department that's going to purchase your services. How does that work? Say we publish an RFP for, again, accounting services. Okay, the RFP is usually in request, in response to a department that wants those particular services. So an RFP for accounting services, we'll say here, RFP for accounting services. And here was the City of Chicago. It will say the department that wants those particular services. In this particular RFP, it was the Department of Finance. Okay? So the Department of Finance wants accounting services. Publish an RFP. You respond with a proposal. Okay? You checked in. You evaluated. You came in for your oral presentation. Okay? And you're one of the finalists. Okay? The EC, the Evaluation Committee, will recommend to the Commissioner of the Department of Finance. There's no Commissioner, right? Department of Finance is the Controller. Okay. So the EC Committee will recommend to the Controller, okay, that this vendor should be selected, given an award. The Controller of the Department of Finance then will send a memo to the Commissioner of Procurement Services to concur. The Commissioner, the Controller has to say, yes, this vendor seems to meet the criteria. Then they'll send a letter to our Commissioner, Procurement Services, and the Commissioner then has to say, okay, we're going to select this vendor to come in for negotiations. Okay, you're not awarded yet. Okay, you have the top performer, you got a stop score, you're evaluated by the committee, you're recommended from the committee to the Commissioner of the department, to our Commissioner that said, okay, you can negotiate with this vendor. Okay, so that's where the end product is. And what happens? The senior procurement person, remember them? Okay, will send you, okay, a draft of the agreement. The agreement that was on the website, the PSA, okay, that the draft of the agreement will be sent to you. Okay, sorry. You get a selection letter. You get a letter saying you've been selected, okay, to come in to negotiate, basically, okay? You've not been awarded yet. You've been selected to negotiate, okay? So you'll get a copy of the agreement from our legal department, but will usually come from the procurement person to you, okay? Then you will review, okay? You may negotiate. You say, I don't like this, I didn't speak to this, so you go back and forth through the procurement person with the legal department, okay? Back and forth till exactly it is, you will get to the point where it's exactly what we want and exactly what you want, okay? Then you sign it. The person authorizing your agency will sign it, and then will send it back to us, okay? Then it has to be signed by the controller, signed by your commissioner, signed by the mayor, and then you send a letter. You'll be sent a letter saying your contract will be approved. Then you get a contract, okay? So you have to go through all the steps, okay, before you actually award a contract, all right? So, where we at? The city publishes the RFP, right, for the services that they want. You find that you can provide those services. You respond with a proposal, right, that follows exactly what the RFP asks you to do. Every single aspect of it was there, okay? Proposal is submitted. We take it in. You submit everything. We share it with the evaluation committee. They read it. They score it. You want the highest scorer. You come in for an oral presentation, okay? You're a finalist, okay? You recommend it to the commissioner or the controller, who recommend it to our commissioner of procurement services, okay? Then you get a selection letter saying that, okay, you're there, okay? And then we'll send you a contract that you read and sign. And once that is done, you send back to us on a signed by controller, the commissioner, and the mayor, and your contract is awarded. So great, you have a contract with the city, which might be for 5 years, with extensions, right? Sounds very good. Okay, did I miss anything? Okay, guys, so I know this is it's a lot of information. My card is here. You can always call. Better yet, you can always email me, okay, any questions you have in regard to the RFP process or any specific RFPs that you're applying for.
So we'll open it to questions from the audience. As I mentioned before, because we are live streamed on YouTube, I'll come over with the mic to make sure that your voice is heard with whoever's watching, and then Milton will respond. Are there any questions?
Questions?
One in the audience? Sure.
Yes.
So is there always communication that a decision was made? Because there's many instances where we do submit information and months go on and we know nothing. We check the procurement website and we see nothing. And, you know, a contract may even be expired and there's no updates and there's no communication with the individual that's listed, whether I phone or email. So is it just if you don't hear, no news is bad news?
Not necessarily. Person might be out, person might have resigned, person may have been changed. But generally what happens, I just went through the process with you guys. It takes a while for the process to work itself out, okay? And we won't tell you anything until we awarded the contract. We can say, yes, you have a contract, and you guys don't have any contracts. So we can't tell you anything until the process runs through. Once the contract is awarded, it's also posted on a website. So there might be a target date 6 months from now to award the contract, and something happened on the way. The insurance was not correct, the EDS is not right, and something happened in negotiations with the selected vendor to that point. So at that point, we cannot tell you anything until the particular contract is awarded, okay, because we haven't awarded. Right. Not only that, we might not even award that contract. The person might decide, agents might decide, okay, we don't want to deal with City anymore, or they don't comply with what we need, and we might have to go to the second vendor, the second listed, or the third listed. We might come to the seventh listed. I doubt it. But that's the reason we might spend months time frame before you can hear back. Until the contract is awarded, okay, we don't inform people where they are because we don't know, okay, until the final decision is made. Okay, so that might be the issue.
Is there like a limit? Could it be more than 9 months? I heard you say 6 months.
It could be, yeah, it could be more, could be a year, could be, yes, because some of them might be very complicated.
So what happens to the enforced contract that has an expiration date?
Well, there's an expiration date of a contract.
Yeah, like if you're on the procurement awarded contracts, it'll say expiration 7/31, 2017.
Okay.
So
They have an extension, then they would have their
So it would be an assumed extension?
No,
if it's not posted.
don't be assumed extension. Okay, the department that's handling which you have a contract with will inform you whether or not they want to extend your contract. If your contract expired, they'll have to tell you we want to extend it. Okay, or you can call the department and find and say, hey, guys, it's expiring. I mean, you guys want to extend me? What do you want to do? Okay, then you'll be told there's an extension. Okay.
So it's okay to contact the person listed after the...
Well, you contact the department, because the person listed, procurement person, we in the process, okay? The department is the one that's going to use the services.
Okay.
Okay, so maybe Department of Family Services, Department of Finance, Department of, sanitation, water management. The person, your contact person will have to be at the department. They're the one that actually does the day-to-day monitoring of the contract. So if you're an expired contract or it's going to expire, I will call them and say, hey, are you guys going to renew this? It's expired, So I'll call them and ask them that. Okay, so that's so the department will know whether or not they're going to continue the program or the process. Okay, so they will have to know. They will have to notify you. Okay?
I have one more question.
Sure.
On the proprietary information where they ask that be held confidential, does that include like the pricing?
No, because you submitted your pricing.
Okay. So the pricing would be available?
The pricing would be in your compensation schedule. Your financial documents, you might have information that you don't want to share. Those might be, those might be confidential, but not the pricing.
I do want to disclose or inform you guys about the bid tracker module that we have on our website. So if you go to the www.cityofchicago.org and in the search bar all the way on the top right, just enter bid, B-I-D, tracker, T-R-A-C-K-E-R, and the first result that pops up usually is the bid tracker module. You click on that. If you have the spec number for the RFP, RFQ, or bid that you submitted it for,
Straight number
it
right
should tell you, it gives you a little flow chart that tells you where in the process that bid is. So it'll tell you if it's in bid opening, evaluations, oral presentations. The bid tracker should be able to tell you where in the process it is if you're unable to speak to the designated senior procurement officer. So go to the cityofchicago.org, and on the search bar all the way on the right, that's the fastest way that I have to find it. Otherwise, it's a really long URL, and just do bid tracker. And that's a really good way, too. Any other questions? One more?
Hello, two questions. Insurance, so since I'm new to the game, for new people, if you get an insurance amount, should you just wait until you get a contract or at least get a letter to say what you can get up to, say 2 million, or is $1 million an average, because I'm an IT consultant, or should you wait to look at each RFP? How do you handle that?
Okay. Basically, your insurance broker can give you a certificate, okay, that will comply with what we ask for. In other words, we have to make sure that you're able to get that insurance at the time you apply, okay? So your certificate of insurance will tell us, okay, $500,000 for automobile insurance, okay? So your broker should be able to list that in the certificate of insurance, okay? You don't have to get that insurance until you're awarded the contract. The date your contract starts, you must have that insurance, okay? But your certificate of insurance from a broker will tell you, will give us the amount that are required, okay? So we know that you're able to get that insurance coverage, okay? But your coverage should not be effective not until you're awarded a contract, the date your contract starts, your contract start date, okay? Good question.
Got it. And then now in terms of financials, so if you're new, you don't, what are you giving? Your personal tax information?
You knew that if you're an individual consultant, you're saying, that's the only way you get your personal information.
Right, so if they're looking for financials from a previous contract or with a client, you don't have that, then they would have to look at your individual tax returns.
That would be a financial document, yeah. That would be an acceptable form of financial document if you have no other form of document. And you are an individual contractor, yes. Yes,
Yep.
Your tax return would be acceptable financial document. We would need the last 3 years of returns, yes. Yes, that would be acceptable.
But what if you're a company?
I'm sorry?
But what if you're a company that's under 3 years old and you don't have 3 years of financials?
Good question. Maybe we'll take your personal or the officer of the company. You will take your financial information. You know,
So-
if you're 3 years old, you have the principal of the company's personal financial information for a year, maybe the company for the next 2 years. So we need a 3-year window to see what you are financially.
And it does say in this particular RFP, if the respondent is unable to provide audited financial statements, state the reasons in your proposal response and provide financial documentation in sufficient detail to enable the city to assess the financial condition of your firm. So if you do not have the 3 years, there's still financials that you can provide with enough sufficient detail for us to assess the financial stability of your company. And then as far as the insurance, I know that usually what they do ask for is a statement. I just saw it in here. So there's a statement that you can send that shows that you can comply with the city's insurance requirements, but then prior to the contract award, if you are selected as a selected respondent, then prior to the award, you are required to submit evidence of insurance in the amounts that are specified. So prior to you being awarded, if you have, just like Milton said, a statement of some sort from your insurance agent that you can comply with all the insurance requirements, that potentially could be sufficient enough. But prior to the award, if you're selected, that is when you will need to provide your official COI.
The RFP also has usually a format, a sample certificate of insurance, okay, and that's what I was referring to. And most insurance brokers will fill it out for you, Okay, they will fill out the information that's needed based on the request. So yeah, they'll tell us whether or not you qualify, you'll be able to get that insurance if you're awarded a contract. So that's easy to get it.
Any more questions?
A similar kind of question. Also, I'm also sort of starting out as a new business, and I'm an architect, and I have a lot of experience with other firms, but I'm trying to launch my own company. So one of the requirements is that you have to have reference for projects of similar type, okay? So if I, as a firm, I don't have that experience, although my personal experience as an architect, I have that experience. For instance, I have worked on CDOT projects and things like that. So how do you reply, or how do you respond to that requirement?
It will be the same response. You'll give us the information of your reference, because we are going to verify that reference. And you tell us information, and if it corresponds to what we need, if you've done, I don't know, buildings with 10-story, who had that requirement.
From previous experience working for other people?
Yes.
Okay, so
yes.
that could count?
Okay. That definitely will count.
Okay.
Again, we'll check all the references. So yes, that will count.
Okay,
We can
good.
verify, as long as the verifiable information that you provide, we can verify it, and that will be acceptable from a reference. Yes.
Otherwise, it's impossible, right?
Yeah, we'll take that.
Any other questions?
And to piggyback on her question about references, so say you respond to 5 RFPs in a month and we're using the same references. Do you guys call all the references again for 5 times in 1 month, or do you create a file, or?
If there are different RFPs, we will call them again and again 5 times. Okay, because each RFP will have different requirements. Okay, and your references will have to respond to address those requirements in the RFP. So if you have whatever RFP you submit your proposal for, whatever reference you list there, we will call them. It doesn't matter if it's the same reference. We will call them in reference to this particular RFP that we're applying for. Okay? Yeah.
And then if you're a more seasoned contractor, do you guys have like a file with that company? Like, I can't imagine vendors who have been doing business with you guys for 5 or 10 years still going through the same process. Is that true?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Every RFP is distinct and different. That's why it takes 2, 3, 6 months a year to do. Every single RFP, okay, is different. So it doesn't matter, you're competing with vendors that have been around for a while, but they still have to submit the same information. So you're on an even standing when you start, okay? Every proposal that comes in, we don't know. The evaluation committee doesn't know who's been there 5 years, 10 years, okay? They look at your references, they look at your record, they look at your plan, your proposal, and you'll be evaluated for this RFP. Not the one you did 5, 10 years ago, or the one you will do 5, 10 years from now. The current RFP. So each RFP is a different evaluation committee, okay, different criteria, and you evaluate it based on the information that you provide in response to the particular RFP, not what happened before, okay? Excuse me.
Yes, I have 2 more questions. So what's your thought or recommendation on hiring an RFP consultant? Like, normally they're former employees of the city or, the entity.
Hiring consultant in terms of what?
Yeah, like there's services where consultants approach you and say that they can help, elevate your proposal or have it, structured in a way that's, stands out. And there's many of them.
We don't
Not
recommend
necessary?
that because you will know your organization better than any consultant. You will know your capacity, what you can do, qualification, yours and your staff. So you know much more than any consultant can do. And not only that, this might be run against you if you get to be at the top of the finalists, and then you have to come in for the oral presentation, where the evaluation committee is going to ask you questions, which you might not be able to answer because someone else prepared your proposal. Okay, I'm not telling you what to do, what not to do. I'm just saying those considerations have to be in your mind when you're applying for respond to an RFP.
And then the second question was, what if in the scope in your response, you have extra services that are a component of that. Does that help position you, or that's irrelevant? Because it has nothing to do with the scope.
Exercises that are not required, that are not asked for in the RFP. If they're an enhancement and you think they might help, I mean, I have to be a case by case. If they will enhance what you're going to be providing to us, I don't see a problem with mentioning it. I don't know if it's going to get you extra points, but that's something that in the same vein of what we're asking for will enhance what we asked for. I don't see if you want to include it, it's fine. Okay.
Any last questions? No? Okay, great.
What is it?
I think you want to close it out, Milton?
Okay, guys. Again, thank you for being here. I hope I didn't bore you too much, but it's a lot of information. And the important things is that as we go through the documents and RFP, you're going to have questions. Always keep in mind, you can always ask the question. There's no dumb question. Whatever question you have, you can always ask it. And every RFP has a person attached to it, name, and always use that and ask any question you might have, okay? Always ask the questions, okay? It's a good thing. Good luck, you guys. Okay, great.